Hey, what's up, guys? It's Russo and Jordy with Backdoor Fantasy Sports, and we've got another Prize Picks video for you. We are going to be talking about the NBA slate on Flex Friday, December 29th. We've got 8 games on board. There's some fun matchups. Looking forward to getting into all of these. We'll definitely have 4 for you tonight and at least 4 for you tomorrow. But before we get into our picks, if you've never tried Prize Picks, use our promo code at the bottom of the screen and they will double your first deposit up to $100. And if you're new to our channel, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell. We run a lot of different types of shows, and a lot of these plays that we drop will end up inevitably, most of the time, getting bumped or moved and sometimes removed. So just make sure you're subscribed and you have the notifications on, and you should be notified as soon as we drop our videos. And if you're a fan of the show and you appreciate what we're doing, if you don't mind liking the video, it's been awesome. You guys are helping us just like grow this so quickly. We really appreciate you. So keep up the good work, and we definitely appreciate the likes. All right, so we're going to go through a recap real fast. Rough outing. My vibes are kind of balanced because we had such a good night for football on this same day. So it was kind of mixed emotions. I wish we had more success with basketball, but the sweep in football was awesome. And it's a tricky time for basketball right now. We're through the NBA Cup, and ever since we've been through that, we've been seeing these weird rotations going on where guys will be going off, and the following game they're getting like half the minutes. So I don't know. It's just starting to be that time of year where we're seeing rest days and a little bit unpredictable on the rotation side of things. But so for the night video, at first look, I took KCP, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, for over 2.5 rebounds. Unfortunately, when we took this play, I had no idea Ja was going to be out. He got ruled out last minute, ended up being a DNP. And so this game wasn't nearly as competitive as we were anticipating it would be. Even the spread, I believe the spread was like 3.5 points maybe. So no one really saw that blowout coming. That was, because of Ja. But KCP went for 2 rebounds. He got them both on the same play. I was like, sweet, he's actually going to hit this. And then the blowout got so bad, he just sat for most of the fourth quarter. I think he may have been sat for the whole fourth quarter. So unfortunate there. Zion just completely crushed it. Not in a good way, like not good for those of us that took the under. He had only gone over that 4.5 assists twice in his last 10 games. And then he goes out and goes for 8 tonight against the Jazz. So we just missed on that one. The numbers were there. The data was there. It just, sometimes these guys are pros, he ended up going hard. So that was unfortunate. And you want to get into your night video or your night picks first? Cool. Go for it.
So I felt so good about these. I took Jonathan Kuminga for over 14.5 points and assists, and he went for 12. The Warriors just had a terrible night. They're not looking well coached like they usually are, and their shooting has just been off. That's kind of the problem with the Warriors. If they can't shoot you out of the game, they're not going to defend you out of the game. So, he had a rough night. He went for 12, pretty close, but not what we need. And then Anthony Davis, he was on his way to hitting this. We took him for over 28.5 points. He ended with 26. They just blew him out towards the end, and they sat AD for like the last 7 minutes. He could have easily gotten it done had they just kept it a little bit closer. But I felt so good about it because he had like 19 points at halftime, or like 18. And I was like, okay, he's going to kill this. And he was getting fouled, and he was playing with some urgency. And he didn't take his foot off the gas. It was just, that was the problem, is they kind of just ran him out of there. So just unlucky on those two. Kuminga just didn't play well, but AD just needed the rest of that game. So the blowout. And like he was saying, this is kind of a tricky time with basketball because they're more willing to sit people, and they're more willing to let guys rest on nights where they're not just getting it together. They'll just sit them for the game. So, it's a weird time for basketball, but that's why we put the football video out too. That one killed it. So make sure you're watching all those.
Yeah, and I also think we're kind of getting into that mid-season time where some of these coaches are trying to get these other guys a little deeper in the bench, more playing time, to kind of like you get a little bit more rest for your starters, but you're also seeing what you've got in your bench,
right?
And kind of getting some of those things worked out before you're making like a real playoff push. So in the day video, I took Anthony Simons, and he ended up being a DMP. So we had the DMP there, and then Andre Drummond took him for over 33 and a half PRA, and then it got bumped down to 32, and I was even more stoked. And then we had another one of these weird minutes rotation situations. I didn't catch all of that game because I was like so hyped on the football game. But so I don't know. I didn't see anything if he got injured or whatnot. But in that previous game against Atlanta that I was all hyped on, he played 39 minutes. And in this game, he ended up only playing 21 minutes. And in that time, he cashed 7 points and 16 rebounds. So his efficiency was there. He just, I don't know, they got away from, maybe it was the actual pace of the game. They didn't like the matchup or something. But on 21 minutes, if he would have even gotten 30 or 35 minutes, which is not as much as he got in his last game on Tuesday, I think it was Tuesday. Yeah, it was Tuesday. Yeah, I mean, again, 7 points and 16 rebounds. His rebounds cashed at 15 and a half. I thought for sure they would need him to score as well, but it's unfortunate, but that's what happened. And so we had a DMP on my end, and then Drummond didn't get his minutes. But what about you, Jordy?
Yeah, so we took Terry Rozier for over 3.5 rebounds. And he got 3 in the first quarter, and he ended with 6. So I was pretty stoked. He killed it. That was just a good matchup for him. The Lakers are giving up a bunch of rebounds to point guards, so it's something to keep in mind in the future if you're taking point guard picks against them. And then we took Valanciunas, man. He just didn't play. Going into the third quarter, he had 15 minutes played, and he only had 4 rebounds. And he came in for the fourth quarter, and he was just totally checked out of the game. I don't know if he was like hurt or not feeling well, or if he just was like, screw it, I'm taking the night off and I'm just doing some cardio. But he ended with 4 rebounds, and we took him for over 10 and a half. So that was pretty brutal. I was fully expecting him. I had him in a slip that just needed him to cash to give me like another big payout, but I was like, whatever. I mean, it happens, but it was pretty frustrating as a fan of Valanciunas, man. I love watching that guy play, so it was weird seeing him not get a lot of time. But I mean, Zion was totally dominating that game, so it was like, it was his show to run that night.
Yeah, man. I speaking of one play keeping you from a bigger payout, I had some of those plays that we liked from the NFL slate. I had taken some of those demons like Njoku, and I took Flacco. I just had a good feeling about those two tonight, and I took their demons, and I only needed KCP to get one more rebound to cash. I think it was like a 48x. So you got 2 and you needed one more, but the double up, it was a little bit more than double up. It was like a 4.5x because of the demons, which I've been loving. Nice. Those demons and goblins. But all right, guys, let's get into these plays. All right, so to get me started, I'm going to be going with a points prop, and I'm going to be taking Cam Johnson to go over 14 and a half. Really love this play. He's went over it 4 out of his last 5. Obviously, you can see there. We're going to be taking this for more. If we hop over to the over-under, we've got 241 and a half over-under, really high-scoring game. With the Nets favored by 6.5 points. So not really any too big of concerns about blowout. I know the Wizards season is looking somewhat lost, but I still think that they have a lot to prove, and they're a team who can put up a lot of points in a hurry. So I'm hoping, much like we saw in the last game, that the Wizards can kind of go out to a lead and make the Nets try to play catch up. And then I still think the Nets will eventually probably win, but you just never know. This should be a close one, I would think. So I'm going to be taking him for more. If we take a look at DG here, we got him. He's actually the 4th highest play right now on Daily Grind. They have him at just under 54% at odds to hit on the over. And you can see because they show you the discrepancies, we know that Prize Picks has this at 14.5 when the rest of these odds makers have it at 15.5. And some of these even have it favored to the over at 15.5. So I'm liking this a lot. If we look at what he's been doing over his last 5 games, he's been going well over this. And at the actual 14.5, because I have the alternate line set on Outlier, we see that it's a minus 135 to go over 14.5. And we do have the Wizards. Obviously, we talked about it before. They're 30th in most categories, and one of those categories is points allowed. So I'm feeling good about this play across the board. Definitely going to be taking that. And then my next play is going to be an assist prop. I'm going to be going with Sabonis to go over 7.5. He's usually crushing this, especially lately. He's gone 4 out of his last 5 with some pretty big games in there. He's one of the few centers who actually has the assist game a big part of it's like one of the bigger tools in his bag. So I'm feeling good about this. If we look at this over under, we have another really high over under 250.5 with the Hawks favored by just 1 point. And like we mentioned before, when we were talking about what Drummond did to the Hawks, like they're not very good against centers. And if we hop back on Daily Grind here, I know I saw this play on here as well. So we have it right here. They have it favored to the over at just under 53%. And their odds, they're giving it a minus 131 to go over. And we can see most of the odds makers are pushing that 130-ish range. You got BetMGM at minus 135, DraftKings minus 125. So across the board, it's very heavily favored to go over. And I think that that's because of the matchup that we're dealing with here. If we look at what he's been doing, in his last 5 games, he went for 12, 8, 12, 10, and then 5 in just that one game against the Trailblazers. The Hawks are actually 27th in assists allowed. So I'm feeling really good about this matchup, and he's the type of center that this is just a big part of his game. So I'm feeling great about both of these plays, and these are the 2 I'm rolling with for first look. What do you got for us, Jordy?
Yeah, man. I actually really like that Sabonis play too, because the way he pushes the ball and kicks it out to all those shooters, I mean, it's such a good play. And with a massive over-under like that, like I'm going to be playing that in so many tomorrow. But so to get me started here, I'm going to be going with 2 pretty familiar plays. And you guys don't have to take these, but I mean, I feel so good about these regardless. I'm going to be going with Tyus Jones again. It's at 12.5. If we look over here on Outlier at what he's been doing, I mean, he's going, if he's not hitting this and just crushing it, he's just going right under it. I mean, 11-9. He had the one tough game against New Orleans, but 7 out of 10 games, and he's gone for 20 points in a bunch of these games. I love this play. And if we look at what Brooklyn's giving up to point guards, he's got a pretty easy matchup here. They're ranked 21st against point guards, and they're giving up 24.8 points a game. So we've got a nice cushion here for him to get us 13. And I think with the way he's been shooting the ball, I think we'll be okay. He had a really rough night shooting against Toronto, and he still almost hit this. He went like 5 for 12. But I like him to go over this. And it's not very juiced, so I'm not going to pull it up on DG. It's like a minus 115 across the board. But this next play, I do feel really good about as well. So we're taking him for more there. I'm going to be going with our man Jalen Johnson. He's kind of like an unsung hero in the backdoor community. He was killing this for us. They had this at like 14.5. We were still taking it, and he was crushing it. He had a bad game against Brooklyn, but then he got hurt against Washington. In that game against Washington, he had 8 points in like 4 minutes in that game. And then he hurt his wrist. And so this was his first game back against Chicago, and he still almost hit this. So I like him to go over this one here. If we pull him up on Daily Grind here, let me type him in. Let's see. So they don't have his points on here, which is weird. But it was on here earlier, and it was it's a minus 130 to go over at this rate, and it was like a 52% chance. So I like this one a lot. And DeAndre Hunter is out, so he should get plenty of time in this game to play. If we look at the matchup here against small forwards, they're ranked 27th. Sacramento is giving up 21.6 points a game, and we only need 12. And for a guy like this, 12 points is nothing. Let me tell you, he can score so fast and just get it done quick. He's done it in the first quarter for us before. If you look at the over-under on this game, it's huge. We got a 250.5 over-under with a 1-point spread. So this is going to be a massive game. And then the Washington game, we have a 241 over-under with a 6.5 point spread. But I think the Wizards are going to keep that game competitive, and I think we're going to have some really good basketball tomorrow. So I'm stoked on these two plays, and that's what I've got, man.
Great. Yeah, I feel good about all these. I actually just locked them in.
Me too, yeah.
So we hope you guys have a great Flex Friday. If you are interested, again, in checking out our Discord, there's a link in the description of the video. We'll be helping each other. We come together as a community and we build out, we talk about the best way to build out our protected play on Fridays. So if you want to join us in there, we'll be doing that tomorrow. And if you're interested in checking out the tools from Daily Grind, they're our official partner now. So they're giving all of our viewers 25% off any of their tools. If you just use the code BACKDOOR, one word, and they'll give you 25% off of any of the tools you purchase. And yeah, guys, that'll do it for us. We appreciate you. We hope you have a great weekend, and we will catch you in tomorrow's daily show.
Good luck, guys.